Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Coloring Passports. I'm Rio, and today we are doing the blue cat. Not gonna lie, not one of my favorite fish. Not one of my favorite fish. These guys have 0 scales. I'm really excited to get into this because of the fact that I'm gonna get to use some different colors. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's dig in. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is get in here on his underbelly. His underbelly is going to be the lightest color on the fish, and there's going to be some of it here and here. Now, even though he's called a blue cat, we've got some greens down here on his whiskers and under his jaw, and so we're going to come in with some of this green-gray and just start to lay in some hints of color. Not a ton of color, just a little bit of color here. And I'm not even coloring the entire whisker at all. I'm just coming in here with some color. And then what we'll do is we will come in and enhance on top of that with some of the brighter, more spectacular colors. Now the inside of his mouth is definitely going to be darker, so we're going to go ahead and put a layer of the dark in there where that would be, and then this will kind of come out like so, and there's going to be a little bit of a shadowing right here. So I'm basically just trying to color in where the shadows are right now, where I think they're going to be. I remember catfishing with my dad as a kid. You always had to fish at night, so I was always a little uncomfortable with that. A little bit scared of the dark, even though my dad was there with me. And I don't think I've ever just gotten over the fishing on the river thing. I'm not real excited about fishing on the Missouri or the Mississippi River or any of those rivers like that. I like water that I can see my feet. Okay, so let's get down into this area here. I have no idea what we're going to do the background of this. I almost feel like I want it to be just fun and playful and crazy, a little bit crazy. So we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there, I suppose. I'm going to add just a small layer of this green-gray. That's all dark, so this has a little bit of light in it. This definitely has some light in it. This has light. His eyeball, beautiful. Beautiful fish. Y'all, we got another fly in the studio. It's because my sweet baby kitties like to come and go as they please, inside, outside, during the day. And they have destroyed the screen And so we got a couple of flies in the house because of that. All I'm doing is coming in here with this color just while I can. And I am adding in just some shapes here so I can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm hoping to make him beautiful. And that's going to be a task because I am not sure that I feel like catfish are beautiful. I don't think they're beautiful at all. Yep, pretty much no, they're not. So I'm going to work really hard to make this guy beautiful, and we'll see where we get with all of that. Okay. I'm happy right now with where we're at, so I'm going to add a little bit more dark here to this part of his face, his cheek. I really did work on purpose to get this green gray down so that any of the blues that we put down aren't going to be just so in your face. So right now he's pretty monotoned and he is definitely not pretty. Is he pretty yet? No, he is not. Absolutely not pretty. Absolutely not pretty yet. But I'm still hopeful that I can pull that off. I always feel like they've got like a little mustache. It's all pretty dark down there. Okay, well that's just gross. So we have kind of monotoned him up a bit here to get the party started with the green gray. The problem is I don't know which color to move on to. This is like way out of my, I feel like slate gray maybe? Let's do a little testing on this. Woo! Okay, that's not awful. We're going to add some of that up here in his dorsal fin. That flopped over there. Well, that's not terrible. I'm going to add some of this slate gray, because the slate gray is a blue gray. I'm really gonna, oh yeah, look at that. Oh, yes! I need to have some more purple on it because that's further away. Now all of this is really going to have a really dark shadow here on this part of his face. So usually I have commitment issues with this, but I know this is nowhere near as dark as it's going, so I'm not too nervous about really getting some color laid down right here. I'm also letting some of that background color kind of show through. Ooh, yeah, he's definitely not pretty yet. Pretty check? Yeah, no, he is not pretty yet. These Prismacolor colored pencils are just buttery and creamy and just wonderful. Okay, so he's going to have a little bit of light color here. He's going to have a little light color here. He's going to have, I almost feel like this, he's sort of got this slate gray coloration to him everywhere. And I'm coloring in the direction of the fish as always. And I know it's going to be kind of scribbly looking, and that's okay for right now. We're not going to worry about that because we'll come back in and smooth it all out. It'll be fine. Okay. I'm going to put this color down. Now we are going to pick that back up, but I need some brighter color on this fish. So I'm going to grab the blue slate. So we had slate gray. Now we're going to grab the blue slate and see if it starts to add some of the blue into the catfish that I want to see. And what we'll do is we'll go back in over the top of this with some of the darker colors. We're just trying to get the blue color laid in there. Okay. I can get behind this. And we've got the two different colors of the dark laid down on underneath. And so going over it with kind of a glazing technique with this blue slate color is actually working pretty good. And we're obviously going to have to darken this up in some areas, but it's not terrible. I want to grab a periwinkle because as we go back, I know that, let me see if I can find the color that I want. Well, we're gonna grab Blue Violet Lake first. Okay. Gonna go back in here and very lightly just start filling in back in these areas here. Do you know that these catfish have a lifespan of 9 to 25 years in the wild? And that they can grow to be 150 pounds? "24 to 65 inches long." That's a big fish, y'all. I'm going to put in the light color first. And then I'm going to come over this dorsal, or this pectoral fin here with some seriously dark colors. Gonna have some of this in here. I'm gonna have some of it back here. Okay, so now for the most part, this fish has been colored. Got just about all of the areas covered with some sort of a color. Just about. Okay. Still not pretty. I'm going to take some of this aquamarine. Whew, that's really intense. I don't think that's gonna, I'm gonna have to put a color on top of that. It's too intense. We want that green. I have this pale moss color. Pale sage, sorry. I have this pale sage color. And I'm going to start, ooh, I don't know that that's the right color either. Whew. That's a little too green. Let's come in here with this and kind of go over the top of all of his belly. This one is gray-green light. So it's going to let some of the, it's going to show through. It's going to blend out all of the greeny blue colors that we have on the bottom. And we'll come back in, we'll define some of these a little bit more. Not a big deal. This all has to be a lot darker. But I do like the way that blends. And I do like the way that it picks up all the other colors that we're working with here. Still not pretty. So I think I want to stop with the fish for a minute and I want to start putting in some of the branchy things underneath him. Gonna grab this clay color and just see what color that actually is. And I know I should be testing all of my stuff on the swatches, but I'm just not going to, not right now. Just want to let myself know where all of the branches are in the photo. And then I'll adapt the colors to go more so with the fish. So right now it's going to be a little too much to the orange color. But I just want to get all of the little tiny baby little highlighty areas colored so I can see where things are. grab this light umber. What color is this? Burnt umber. Let's get in here with some of this burnt umber. Shall we? I think we shall. Just putting in some of the darker colors for the tree. Kind of random. Not doing a whole lot. I'm going to put some shadow on this edge here. And we've colored trees before in the largemouth bass and a few branches in the smallmouth bass, so this shouldn't be anything new. I want this super dark. I'm going to add a little bit more dimension into the tree back here. And I'm obviously going to have to decide what's happening with the background. I kind of want to pop art the background. Something just so far off that it would just be like, wow, really? That's wow. Okay, we've used about all of that we want to use. Now I'm going to come over the top of some of this with some of this dark blue. This is the Hoo Hoo Hero Dark Blue. And what that's going to do is create the illusion that it's in water. And that's what we're looking for. See how that looks like it's underwater now? We haven't even colored the water yet, but we've given the illusion that this wood has the water atmosphere over the top of it. Now I'm going to take the same blue and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to attempt to start darkening up some of these areas here. I'm going to push really hard and really darken up some of these areas on his fin here, because it would be this dark. I'm starting to feel like this dark blue just might be one of the colors that we really finish this fish with. I like the way it's performing. Look at that. Look at that. Now see that blue up against all these reds in the trees? That's working. I'm going to sharpen this again. It's so pretty. He's so pretty. And this color, I just really like this color. And I want a little bit more of it back here on this spin. Look how nice that's turning out. That's going to be good. Again, I'm going to have to come in and darken all of this. I'm feeling like I want to add some super, super dark back here. And then maybe do something fun around the face of the fish. So bear with me here while I start laying down some super dark color back here. And right now this is that same blue that I'm using, and he spins in on his body, so we will definitely have to go over this with another color. I just really want to see what happens if I shadow these trees a little bit. So we're going to go with the blue, just rough around here, nothing too exciting. Then I'm going to grab a super dark green, I think. Actually, I'm going to go against what I always tell you, and I'm going to grab some of this black and go right over the top of that blue with the black. Because I don't want the blue and the water to compete with the fins. I want the fish to come forward. And see how that's starting to set it down? So I don't want to use the black throughout. I'm going to switch to the purple gray. I'm going to color in a different direction. So that we get a little more coverage. And then I'm gonna grab a green. And I think I'm gonna grab this dark green and see if this mimics that deep, dark, gross pond water. River water. Yep, that's gonna do it. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. I'm gonna go right over the top of this super heavy. And try to remove all of the white that can still be seen, because that will help. Oh wow. Yep, that's gonna do it. Okay, so then I'm gonna go over this part with the green. I'm gonna go over this with the green. You know, I am pushing hard on this, but I've also got several other colors already down in order for this to work. So I'm going to come up here with this green, and I'm going to put some of this green up here in this tree, kind of in between the branches. Give it a little separation. A little bit of grossness, some moss and stuff kind of growing up on that. Give it the illusion that it's under the water. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. Those moss-colored logs. These catfish like structure. They like to hide in stuff. Hide in stuff, so. Ooh. Okay. Well, there you have some of that. It's not terrible. So maybe we should color some more of that color. Wowza. So I think moving forward, let's bring some of this background color out and see where that puts the fish in the composition here. So we're still moving forward with the, excuse me, with the indigo blue. And I've got a soft edge, a soft flat edge on this pencil, and I'm just gonna fill this in very lightly. Just one continuous line. I'm not picking that pencil up at all. I'm going to come in here underneath the catfish. I'm going to color over the branches, in between his whiskers. I haven't even done these whiskers here yet, but I really just feel like I want that directional push there. I'm just gonna kind of go around his whiskers just a touch, and as I come down this way, I'm just gonna start to change the direction I'm just going to kind of pop art it again because I like the look of the pop art stuff. Everything doesn't have to be this giant, elaborate, photorealistic event. Burnt umber? No. Black? Let's take some of this black, and this is the Hoo Hoo Hero black, so, and this is really more of a Mars black. I'm seeing a lot of red in that, which is going to be okay because we're going to set this down underneath the catfish. We want to make sure that this area down here is behind him. Excuse me, goodness. You don't do that by making something darker. You do it by making the color less intense than the color that's on top. So that has a red hue to it. So when I come back over it with the green, that's going to create the perfect combination to set this fish down. Or to set the background behind the fish and to bring the fish forward. Because red and green are complementary colors, and that's how you reduce the intensity of both of the colors that we're using. See, it sat down. I'm digging that. I'm definitely liking this, very much so. I'm going to come over here with this. I'm actually going to come in with a little bit of this pale sage from the Prismacolor collection. And I'm going to go right over this blue that we laid down. It's going to turn green. But what it's going to do is give me some lighter areas of green. In between, it's really important that you pay attention to your light areas when you're doing the colored pencil, because you kind of got to have to work in reverse that you would with the paint. Got to work it like watercolor paint. Now that is coming in front of the fish, but we're going to set it down. But I wanted a little bit of that yellowish green coming through there. I'll fix it in a minute. It's a really pretty color. This is all kind of a hot mess right here, but it's okay. We'll get it worked. We'll get it lined out. It's no big deal. We will get it lined out. Nope to that. Don't just ignore what I just did there. It was tragic. Dark green. That's what we want. We want this dark green. These guys live deep in kind of murky, green, dark water. They're not floating, they're not swimming around in crystal clear water unless they're in an aquarium. Okay, so we're gonna work that idea into this background here. That while this photograph was taken at an aquarium, you know, where I could see the fish pretty clearly, no big deal. The concept is that if he was in the wild, that water would be a little bit darker. So we're trying to work that in. And we're going to use the colored pencils first, and then we're going to come over it. And I'm using my fingernail right up against the edge of the drawn line on the fish, so that I'm not coming into the fish with this green right now. So I can freely get in there and get it illustrated. Picking back up the turquoise, coming down in here. Gonna go back in with some of this. Ooh, what? There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So I colored in some of the blue. I'm gonna smudge it out with my finger. Got that indigo blue Prismacolor again. I'm gonna come in here and darken up some of these areas. Just a touch. And we'll do more with the watercolor for sure. Right now I'm just trying to get all these different colors layered on top of each other so I have a nice palette to work with. And this is kind of a, you know, a hot mess, but we're just going to smudge that out. Look at that. See? It's starting to really bring that fish forward, and that's what we wanted. So, is this my favorite fish on the planet? No, it isn't. However, he still has a place in the ecosystem. Still a beautiful fish. And I'm not having a terrible time coloring it. And that's all that matters. I'm having a good time. Okay. The side here is going to be darker. And the color I have is a little too intense for what I'm doing. But I just want a little bit of that undercolor laid down there. And of course, all of his pectoral fin here is going to be darker than what I have it started as. And I'm using that black again because it's a red black. And I can see those red, it's like a Mars black, really. Mars black is, or, you know, an oxide black really is what it is. It's an oxide black. Literally says black and it reads like brown because of the red color in there. But we're going to get around that with some of the purple gray. Hello, gorgeous. Gonna come up here and darken up this dorsal fin a little bit. Not a whole lot, but some. Okay, here we go. Sorry for the quiet, but sometimes there's no reason to talk. We just get it done and get in there. Dark blue. And come in and darken this side up just a little bit more. Kind of come in underneath his bottom lip here. Just add a little bit of color, that dark blue. Gonna come back up into his pectoral fin. And I'm gonna go over all that black again with the blue. And that's gonna get us the color that we want. And then we can come back in later on with some highlights from the jelly roll, make it look fancy. Because it's got some lighter colors in here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to grab this pale sage again. I'm going to come right in here and just kind of blend that all out like it's got light on it. Because it does a bit. That light sage is everything with this painting. It was good, good stuff. I'm going to come up here and do the same thing up to the dorsal fin. Come down here and blend that sage right into that blue we just laid in there. It's all good. It's all good. I grab this blue slate, come up here and add some brighter color to his whiskers. See, that makes that come forward quite a bit. Gonna add some blue slate to this part of his whisker. Gonna add some blue slate over here. And this one over here is a problem because we got a little carried away and it got kind of covered up. So we're gonna have to really work to get that one back to where it's supposed to be. Got a little bit of trouble with them down here too. And there's a little bit of trouble with them here. But we're gonna come in with the pen at the very end of all of this and work a gel pen in there and get those colors the way we want them. So I'm not too concerned about the fact that we've got some colors kind of overlapping that maybe aren't exactly the color they're supposed to be. We're not going to worry about that. Right now, we're just trying to get the body of this fish looking good because we want him to be pretty. I mean, they're pretty, you know, crazy looking fish anyway, but we want those colors represented nicely. And so that's all I'm concerned about right at this particular moment. And then we'll get in there and move some of that color around. It's no big deal. It's truly no big deal. Crazy. And this is the gray-green light. Going right over the top of all that with the gray-green light. So, you know, it just kind of is what it is. Got to keep working back and forth with all the colors to get them to do exactly what you want them to do. You just got to be patient with yourself and with the process of it. I really like these Hoo Hoo Hero pencils. They have got really nice pigment load. And I think they work really well with the Prismacolors as well. Okay. This out here is still rough. I kind of don't like being able to see the scratchiness of the pencils with the white parts of the paper showing through. But you got to be careful. You can't just color all at, you know, at full force right out of the gate, because then you can't layer your colors. So I kind of feel like at this point, it's just time to bring out some of the colored pencil or some of the watercolors. I'm going to use the same brush that's loaded with the water in the barrel itself because it just gives you more control. And I'm going to come in here and grab some of this. This is like a phthalo green here. Got to be careful with this because this stuff will eat your lunch. I mean, it is just seriously intense. And then I'm going to grab some of this more of a mossy green over here. More of a chrome green if you're really talking about paint colors. It's really more chrome. I'm going to come in and just very lightly start laying in some streaks of color here. Oh my goodness, that's really pretty. Oh my goodness, that is so nice. That's so nice. It's really, really nice. Such a pretty color. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush off. I'm just going to squeeze out some of the water and just get the excess paint off the edge there. I'm going to come in with some of this lighter blue up here in the corners, kind of a cornflower blue. I've still got a little bit of green on my brush, and that's fine, but I just kind of want to come in and start kind of smoothing out a little bit of this fish here. No scales, he's pretty easy. Get a bunch of that on your brush. And see, I'm coloring in the opposite direction of the way I've laid down the brush stroke, so you can still see all of the layers in the skin, because I want to keep that. I don't want to lose the layers. I just want to add some more color to it by going over it with this. Well, that's really nice. See, all those dark colors are still with me. I'm going to grab some white here. And sometimes the white in the watercolor pans isn't really enough. Sometimes you got to just come in with you just kind of go over what you've got and then let it dry, and then you got to come in with your paint pens. And that's okay. I'm okay if that's what this is, what's going to happen with this. So this will at least get me started here. I'm going to grab a little orange, because this is going to be some shadow colors, and see, that sets it right down. Gonna add some of that blue to his belly. We'll come in here in a minute, kind of shape this up a little bit. not too shabby. Gonna smear some of that green over the brush pile. Smear some of that green over his pectoral fin. There we go. It's not terrible. Okay, it's not terrible. I like it. Okay, let's finish this thing up here with some jelly roll applications. So we know that we've got a little bit of a highlight right here. Let's see if we can get the jelly roll to work. Sometimes that jelly roll just don't want to put out the color. Let's see if this one will. Oh, that one's going to work just fine. Okay, so this one's just lit right up. It's like ready for work. Okay. So we're going to come in here. We're going to highlight that. This guy back here has got some highlights on him. And I'm just going to touch it so that it doesn't have streaky lines everywhere. I'm going to come over here and I've got some highlighty color up here on his lip. I remember being scared of these fish when I was a kid. They would kind of make noises at you when you had them out of the water. They're a pretty cool fish though. Having some trouble with the ink coming out properly here. That's alright though. Let's see here. We're going to give him some beautiful highlights on his eye. They do have really pretty eyes, y'all. And I'm going to come back in with some black here in just a second and kind of hem some of that up just a touch. I want him to have a little bit of a highlight here on this whisker. But I don't want it to be super, super intense. So I'm going to lay it down and then pull it back up. And he's got a little bit of highlight here on his top part of his nose. And I just want to touch it and kind of bring it back down so it's not so crazy. And you know, you could get really creative with this and you could draw some watermarks and all the things and, you know, make it look like the water's reflecting, water ripples reflecting off of him because he doesn't have the scales. It's pretty easy to mimic that. So we're going to put in, you know, just a little bit of that and make it look like the water is, you know, dancing on his back. That's one of the beautiful things about being the artist is that you get to decide. You decide where the light's hitting. You decide what the colors are reflecting. You decide what your background colors are. You don't have to go from the image that you're looking at. You can change it to suit you, to set the mood of the painting. And I know it's a catfish, and this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but these guys are still beautiful. Their eyes are really pretty. And you gotta be careful too, because sometimes when you take a picture of them in the aquarium, you've got the lights from above, and then you've got the light from where you're photographing from. So sometimes it can make that a little challenging to get correct. So always know where your light source is coming from. Gonna come in with this pure blue and add a little bit of color on his eyes. Dark blue. Jelly roll. I don't know, y'all. What do you think? Can we be done? Maybe add a little shim to it, because shimmer is always beautiful, and I don't really know that these guys have much shimmer, but I like the shimmer, and so let's just add some shimmer, because it's my painting. I can do what I want. Okay, let me grab the interference colors, and let's just get after it. We're going to grab some of this blue interference with a dirty brush, get it good and wet and saturated. Got a little bit of that green. Goodness, I'm going to put some of that green up here because that green is crazy. And maybe we'll go around him with some of that green. That's pretty. Ooh, that's really pretty. Back to the blue. Oh, yep, right there on the top. Oh, yep, that's awesome. Don't necessarily want to put it over the white lines that I've drawn on here, but we definitely want to come in and just doctor some of these areas up here. And I'm switching back and forth between the colors. Now I'm getting into some of this. I think this is the gold, but I'm not sure. This could be some orange. This is so much fun. You know why? Because fish are beautiful. Perfect. I think we can live with that. What do you think? Okay, let's go over that with a little bit darker color here. There we go. Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, let's see where we're at. Look at all that shimmer. Yep. That's it. So there you have it. Blue cat done, y'all. Pretty rough edges. I don't even care. I think it's fine. You could come in and make some rainbowy things over here if you wanted to, or just, you know, leave it. Oh, I just realized something. What if I drew a line here and then made that come to here and then this was a solid color? Let's try that. Okay, well, I didn't film any of that, but I drew a line, made this blue with the pencil, then I went over it with some color, with some watercolor, and then I added some white and went over my name again, and here we go. I mean, I just kind of, I feel like you've got to take risks when you're working with this stuff, because if you don't, then you'll never evolve. So I'm not sure that I like it. I'm not sure that I like how I can still see the white in some of the areas through that, but it's okay. I could go back in and seriously darken that up if I wanted to. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, so maybe that's not awful. Oh wow. All of my devices are about to die. I've been doing this for too long today. It's time to get out of here, y'all. All right. This is a case of I could just keep painting, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to drag it out. So I'm Rio. This has been another episode of Coloring Passports. Thanks for joining me in the studio, and I'll see you on the next page.